Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Prevails, a Grand Arena story. We are still doing the 3v3 thing, which is great. I am really enjoying this game mode, and I hope that you guys are too, even though I'm not too optimistic. I know that a lot of people have been saying that they don't really like it that much, but I'm really enjoying it. I really like the idea of being able to theorycraft and come up with new, cool, exciting counters to different teams, and right now that's actually possible in 3v3, whereas I know that 5v5 it is possible, but it's less possible. A lot of 5v5 has been solved at this point, and there are still exciting teams to be coming out, a lot of adjustments to be made, a lot of skill to be wielded in 5v5, but 3v3 is just new and exciting, so I really like it. My opponent here has a really strong roster, as I've come to expect at this point. I'm at the 5.5 million GP level, and don't believe what it says above. It says 5.7. That's bugged, but anyways, my opponent has better relics than I do, which is par for the course. I have a Zeta advantage by about 11, which is it's getting to the point that it's significant. I have more gear than my opponent on gear 13 and gear 12 combined, especially gear 13, and that's a pretty big advantage. And then our mods are like almost exactly even, so we're pretty evenly matched. And we can take a look at our opponent's Grand Arena championship score in the hit past, but honestly I just don't care. It's 3v3 and it's totally new, so there you go. My opponent decided to put every single thing on defense, it felt like. You can see that they have Jedi Knight Revan, they have Darth Revan in its most pure difficult form, Padme, Shaak T clones, just all the different annoying squads. They have Night Sisters and General Skywalker and General Grievous, like all the teams, everything except for Commander Luke and Traya, and I suspected that they would be in the back zone there that we couldn't see. So frankly guys, I don't really find this method of playing to be very fun. I love 3v3. I just find it incredibly boring when someone wants to just put all of their good teams on defense. And no offense to my opponent, it is a valid strategy, to some degree at least, but it just doesn't appeal to me at all. Like I'd rather just be on the offense. I'd rather put the opportunity to win in my own hands rather than counting on my opponent to fail and feel frustrated. I don't want to create a poor playing experience for them, but that happens anyway sometimes. But the fact is, I didn't really think that I was going to be able to clear all of these characters and squads. I figured that I could probably clear one side and then get a chunk of the other zone, and so I did a little bit of math, and I decided that first off my opponent was probably going to be going for my top zone and my ships, just because that was the easiest route to getting 2 zones worth of points. And so they'd be getting potentially 385 points for that, combined for their zone bonuses, for their banners. And if I went on the 2 squad zones on the bottom and then tried to get some squads on the top as well, on the top zone, I'd get 436. You can see the numbers. They've been staring at us for about a minute here, and so there is a banner advantage to going south. The one problem with that is you just don't ever know exactly what's going to be in that back zone, and if my opponent has loaded it completely full of really strong squads, then maybe I won't be able to clear it. However, I figured, like, looking at their characters that they had available, and all their different meta characters and teams, I decided that they couldn't be worse than the top zone. Like, that maybe they have Commander Luke, maybe they have Jedi Training Rey and Traya and all that, and I have the teams to deal with that. Even if I take out the first 3 teams, I'd be able to clear that. And so I thought that it was pretty clear I needed to go bottom. For a little bit, I thought about trying to go top instead and getting a pretty much guaranteed 2 zones, just because I didn't have any knowledge of what was in my opponent's back squad zone, and I had a pretty good idea of what would be in their ship zone, something I could beat, certainly. But in the end, I decided that I would risk the back zone, just because I could beat all the teams that they could possibly put in the back, at least as far as I perceived it. And so, going on the bottom zones first, and let's just see if we can get the full clear, even though it kind of looks unlikely at this point. So we're going bottom zone, obviously, that's what I was saying, and we first just need to take out this Darth Revan team, and so I'm taking Tuskens against it, and you'll see the methodology here in just a minute. For now, we're sacrificing Tuskens. I doubt that the Tuskens were that coherent when they were saluting me right before they died, but they still did, I'm sure. You guys just couldn't see it because it was a loading screen. Alright, so what you guys just saw there was the first step of what I like to call the Jawa Gambit, and what that is just sacrificing a low-level team in order to reduce, or rather increase, my opponent's best characters' cooldowns. And you know what'll happen is they'll, if you attack this team, it's one of the best defensive teams in the game. It probably is the best defensive team in 3v3. And what'll happen is if we attack this team with one of our other less good teams, then Darth Revan will just go, he'll use his ability to fear them, and then the whole team won't be able to go, and all of these really strong characters will get 2 full turns to just do horrible things to your squad. So what you do, you throw in a burner team, and Darth Revan jumps in, he fears all of the Tuskens, and the Tuskens are all sad, and then they die, and that's fine, because no one likes Tuskens, and beyond that, you have also gained the ability to survive for an extra couple rounds, at least a couple extra minutes of combat, and in that time you can actually achieve some goals. Like now that we have done our first step, now our goal is to try to take out Badstila, and then we can clean it up with a different squad, which is actually a really fun counter. So let's jump into that here. Alright, so step 2 of this whole process is using Commander Luke, and more importantly, we're using Han Solo and Chewbacca to combine to try to take out their Badstila. And what that does is, Han goes first, and so he takes a shot, and then Chewie misses because she has foresight up, and then Han shoots one more time, and we've barely done any damage because she's Relic 7. All of these guys are Relic 7. Commander Luke is gone, and I was actually a little bit stressed out here just because I hadn't done much damage to her and Commander Luke was already gone, but luckily I was able to finish her off before I just got completely slaughtered. So I did lose, but I did take out Badstila, and Badstila is a really key component to this squad. And now we can jump in with a different squad, which is actually, I think it'll surprise some of you, the squad that I used here to counter, because that Malak is, like I said, he's like over 200,000 hit points, and the team also has Darth Revan available, and he's one of the best leads in the game, of course. And so, normally the strategy is to try to take out the leader, so then the rest of the squad isn't going to be able to operate under a leadership at all. But in this case, they did still have their leader, so I took my bounty hunters. Now, my bounty hunters are fairly decent. They don't have a ton of like really amazing 6E mods. They do have pretty decent mods, and so, my Bossk is Relic 3, Jango Relic 3, I think, and Boba's Relic 4, and so, we want to take out Darth Revan first. And one thing that really helps taking out these guys is all of the different stacks of whatever that debuff that Darth Revan gives out is. That actually really helps when you're trying to execute. And so what we're trying to do here is, obviously we're trying to do as much damage to Malak as we can, but we're also trying to, we're just trying to bide our time, and, there's all these different debuffs that we're trying to apply to him. So we're trying to get healing immunity on. That's the most important one. We also want buff block with the AoE that Boba can provide. Then another really key ingredient here, you see that I had the chance to use the flamethrower from Jango there, but it only really works if Malak is debuffed. And so what we're doing here, we're flaming him, and every time we hit him with that, his max health is reduced by 10%. And so, that 10% is huge over the course of a long period of time. Now, you saw that Boba used his execute just because I wanted to get healing immunity up on Malak, and obviously it didn't stick, but we're just trying to get as many debuffs as we can on him, and we're trying to do the flamethrower just because every time we do that, then Malak is having his max health reduced. And so you can see I keep getting his health all the way down into the yellow, even into the red at times, and he just regenerates all of his health because that's what kind of character he is. Like, he just regenerates his health like crazy. He has a ton of life drain. He has all these different mechanics in place to be able to keep him alive and make him resilient. And he's operating under a 200k health pool, and so we're just trying to reduce it by 10% every once in a while with Jango and Boba, and other than that, we're just trying to block him from healing as much as we can. I'm always tempted to try to use Execute on Malak, and you see that he's pretty close to gone here. I used Execute there, didn't work, and Execute destroys all debuffs and buffs. It uses them to fuel the damage, and so it went from like almost dead to all the way fully healthy. And so it seems like maybe I'm going to have to use First Order to finish him off at this point. But you'll notice that I keep using the Flamer from Jango, and that does add up over time, and so his health is actually being reduced every time I keep hitting him. Every time I hit him, it goes down just a little bit quicker, and we've got to hurry up and do something because Boba has lost his contract. He already got killed once. Bounty Hunter Resolve is gone, and we need to make something happen. So we're getting to the point though where all of our hits are actually doing some real damage. Jango can't get a crit on Malak for anything. He keeps shooting and he just keeps getting just normal hits, but that's probably good because that means that we're not actually being feared. And the name of the game here is patience, and so eventually we are just able to take him out, and 23 banners, which isn't amazing, but at the same time it's really not that bad. All we sacrificed was a Commander Luke team, which granted that's a really strong team, but then beyond that we only used up bounty hunters to be able to take out the best team out there. So yes, I realized that the banner cost is high, but we're able to get through, and we don't have to use our own Darth Revan or Malak to that counter. So now we're going to jump right into the next counter, which is the Shaak T clone squad. And what we're doing here is I'm taking Savage here with Malak. Savage is the lead, and he's just going to die pretty quick, but that doesn't matter. His leadership is just giving Malak extra defense so that his armor is higher and he's just harder to kill. And that's a pretty big deal for Malak. He's already really hard to kill anyways, and so if you can make him even more resilient, obviously that's good. And so this battle looks like it's going really poorly the whole time. And Malak gets into some scary points with his health and everything, and that's not fun. And all the clones are regenerating their health, and Shaak T is healing them. And one thing to keep in mind though is I always forget what these abilities are called, but whatever the buff that Malak gets from doing his big drain ability, that you get the ability from using the ability. You know what I'm saying, right? So when we're using this draining ability here, it adds to his stacks of buffs, and once you get to that third stack, then his basic attack starts inflicting healing immunity, and that is huge, and that's what we're waiting for. And so we just have to survive until then, and the clones just don't really have the hitting power, at least not under an AI trying to control them. So they don't have the hitting power to be able to take out Malak, and so now he's at 3 stacks, and you'll see in just a minute here that he's going to start doing some pretty hefty damage. And once we can get rid of 5s, then maybe we can start focusing on Shaak T. And for a little bit I thought about trying to take Shaak T out first, and maybe that would have been wise, but she gets so many turns and 5s is constantly taunting anyways that I think that maybe that would have been a fool's errand to try to do that. So I would have just been getting the run around, basically, like attack Shaak T for a little bit, then 5s draws me over, and then 5s drops his taunt, and Shaak T pulls me over again. So I just decided to focus down 5s, and we're just moving along here, just trying to finish off the rest of the clones. There's not really much chance that the clones have. I think Echo should be running right now, but he can't because he's the AI, and the AI is dumb. So 52 banners here, obviously not max, but we did get an undersized win, and we were able to take out an entire really strongly modded, really high relic team with just 1 character. So that's a pretty big win in my opinion. And now we're going to try taking this Padme team out, which is near max relics as well. You guys saw this counter in my first episode of this season, if you guys watched that, and right now I'm actually really regretting the fact that I used Tuskens as a burner in my last fight with Darth Revan, just because Jedi Anakin could have slaughtered them once again. But we're using a burner here just because we want to avoid the Padme kick, which she always leads off with. So she goes first and she kicks, and that stuns someone usually, and if it stuns someone, it means that you can't dispel it, like it's undispellable. And so even as I'm struggling here to find the team that I always use, I'm trying to find Traya here. Now that Padme's kick is done, now I can actually operate normally, basically. Our goal here is to try to isolate Padme as quick as we can, and so we're waiting for the General Kenobi's taunt to go away, and that's not necessarily that easy to do. He's just constantly taunting because he gains taunt every time someone's protection goes away, or protection up goes away rather, and so just the timing of it keeps messing up. And eventually I decided I need to actually isolate him, just because we don't want to take him out first. We want to take Jedi Anakin out if we can. And so, I took a minute to think about it, and so I did isolate Kenobi. And, now we're going to do the Force Drain from Nihilus, or whatever that ability's called. That's like the theme, is Xaereth doesn't know abilities names, but, we're just biding our time. We're hitting Kenobi. We don't want to trigger the big hit from Anakin. We really don't want to do that. And so we did finally manage to get an Annihilate off. And you can see if we had gotten Isolate off on Padme earlier, then, we wouldn't have had Traya at risk. She almost got taken out just because Anakin was called for an assist with Padme. And, we just don't want that. We don't want him attacking more than we have to. But now that Anakin's gone, the threat to this team, it's still there a little bit, just because Padme can still put protection up on people. But now we've got her isolated, and now we're good. Now it's just a matter of time. Like we're just trying to bide our time, and as per usual, it just takes a long time to chew through some of these really high relic teams with my Gear 12 characters, and so we're just trying to kill him. There's not much strategy here. After we're done taking Jedi Anakin out, we're just waiting for Annihilate to happen, and now then we're just anticipating on what's going to be in that back zone there. Hopefully it's not going to be Commander Luke and Traya, but I felt pretty certain that it was going to be. Like my opponent clearly just didn't want to engage in this game mode, or at least that was my thinking. When I entered the mode, or entered this match, when I saw the defenses that he was taking, like a person who wants to engage in this game mode would probably keep more offense. And so, like Padme team, not a great defensive team. I guess it's okay in 3v3 especially. I guess it's hard to counter, but it's not the best. Like, it's way better on offense in my opinion. So looking in the back zone, I was really surprised. Like a lot of beatable teams. These teams are not amazing in the back. They're all strong, or at least strong-ish, but they're nothing too crazy. And so, normally we're going to break with tradition a little bit here, and we're going to take out the back zone, just because we want to be consistent with our initial plan of just being able to clear two sides and then get however many other squads in the other top zone that we can. So really the goal here is trying to one-shot all of these teams, because we want to maximize banners. We've already just destroyed our banner count on a couple different fights, and so we really need to gain some of those back if we can. And so we're using the lowest common denominator squads that we can, that I felt pretty reasonably sure that I was going to be able to win with. So that's what we're doing here with Jedi Training Rey against First Order. And this matchup can be a little bit tricky, just because if Kylo Ren gets his stun on Rey and it's a 2-turn stun, then it can cause some problems, because if Rey is just sitting there for 2 turns, the droids just aren't that good. Like, they need Rey to keep them kind of going. So BB-8 does go first, though, almost always, just because he has a couple droids with him, and that makes Rey go first, and then that lets her push Kylo Ren's turn meter back, and then eventually you're able to get R2 smoke up, and after that you put the smoke on BB-8, and even if BB-8 gets stunned, which didn't happen in this fight, but even if BB-8 did get stunned, then that's okay, because Rey can call him to assist, and that'll cleanse him. So got 52 banners, that's fine. I didn't even get Illuminated Destiny off to heal all of them at the end, which is frustrating, but at the end of the day, it was a first hit kill, and in 3v3, efficiency is not as important. I say that even as I lost in the finals a couple matches ago by 1 point, so clearly we need to be keeping an eye on efficiency. And with that in mind, I did take my Qi'ra Nest team against the Nute team. The Nute team it had a lot of good characters in it. They're all Separatists. They're all doing pretty decent things, of course, but there's not necessarily a lot going on here that can threaten Nest. Droideka could potentially hurt Nest a lot. I don't actually know how the interaction would go between, when Droideka shoots, he does a ton of different hits and damage. Like, if she gains protection in between each of those, or if those all count as like one big hit against her. I was gambling, I was betting that it was going to be just multiple hits, so that it would build her protection up really fast. But as you can see here, like, Nest is just countering a lot. Early on, I was looking to see if extortion was going to prevent counters, which would have been a big deal. I did my research then, and then I got paranoid as the match was beginning, and I read the text again, and there wasn't anything that said that extortion prevented counters, and if it did, that would have been probably a deal breaker. But as it stands, we're kind of ignoring extortion this time. It didn't really play a huge role. Nest just kind of killed everyone too fast, but I think normally you want to dispel extortion. So anyways, we got another one-shot kill, and we're moving on to Night Sisters, trying to find the best squad here. And this is actually kind of a scary Night Sister squad, but the big problem with it was they don't really have a tank. They don't have the zombie here, and Acolyte only has like 20,000 hit points combined, or something like really low. And so troopers need to get that first kill, and they only have 3 guys to be able to do it before the Night Sisters just start going crazy. But that's all they needed. Like, they kill Acolyte, she falls over forever, like she doesn't have a revive. And even though she came back for a minute as an assist for Talzin, later, it just didn't really do anything. So happy to get the win. 54 banners. Troopers are always getting me max banners, which is great. And now we're just trying to beat this last squad here, and I wanted to try First Order, and maybe this was a little bit reckless of me, trying to use Hux as the lead. And I never used the TIE Pilot. I need to go in and remod TIE Pilot, actually, because I'm using him a little bit more lately. So the theory behind the Hux versus Ewoks here is that Hux doesn't allow for bonus turn meter gain on his kit. Like, that's just not allowed as long as he's around, or maybe the whole time. I forget which ability it is that gives him that. But not only that, but he also prevents counters. So Chirpa puts up counter on everyone, and then Paploo goes crazy and starts dispelling everyone every time you hit him, and we're just trying to prevent all that. So he's got some pretty good control elements. The other cool thing is he helps you hit on basics at, what is it, like 50% extra offense, and so all of your hits are doing a huge amount of damage, even though your characters aren't necessarily that good. So like the First Order TIE Pilot there was doing almost 20k hits, and he's only gear 12. Gear 12 is fine, but Ewoks aren't like paragons of high armor or anything like that. But you're doing consistently significantly more damage than you expect. And so that's actually a really fun squad to be able to counter Ewoks with. I probably could have used any number of other characters to counter them, but I don't know. It's fun to take new squads out every once in a while, and I actually got a win with Hut, so good times. Alright, so we've got the bottom 2 zones cleared, and now we're just going for the bonus zones, and I actually had a plan in mind here. I had a potential idea to be able to solve this zone and be able to full clear it, but that entailed using Padme to counter this Jedi Knight Revan team, and the Revan team isn't extremely well geared or relic. You can see that Revan is only gear 12. I believe that Jolee is only gear 12 as well. However, their Grandmaster Yoda is relic 7, so it's kind of a crazy disparity, and we're just trying to get past this squad here. Obviously, the fact is they're going so much. My opponent had them really well modded, and they were pretty quick. So I didn't build up nearly as much bonus protection as I was hoping for. You can see that 2 characters were marked at the same time, and that was a pretty consistent theme here. And I was just nervous. Like, you can see Jedi Knight Anakin only has a little bit of health left. I think that I actually maybe got a little bit lucky because he wasn't targeted early on by Grandmaster Yoda to do a big hit. And, this team is more resilient than it kind of looks like a lot of times, but at the same time, we're not doing nearly as much damage as we want. Like, you can see the courage stacks, I'm not building them up. They're just not building up just because they keep getting dispelled. I did get lucky a little bit here with Kenobi. He does have a couple stacks of courage, but not enough to kill anyone, not enough to one-shot anyone. And so, we got lucky at the very start with Jedi Knight Anakin. He was able to get a one-shot off on one of the characters. I think it was on Revan, and so that burned up Savior. And after that, now we're just trying to take out Jolee, because if we don't take out Jolee, then he'll just revive people. And so I did manage to kill Revan just on a counter from Anakin, and that was cool. And then Jolee just revived him, like I was saying. So kind of frustrating, but what I decided though was this match was taking so long that I needed to actually stop taking hits for a little bit. And so I decided that even though Revan would probably get revived again, I would just take some hits on him, because clearly trying to target Jolee wasn't really working, and I just needed a respite of some sort. And so, here we are. Revan isn't here again, and Jolee hasn't revived him yet, and we're really just hoping that we're going to be able to take out Jolee before Revan is revived again. And so for a little bit, I was considering actually just timing out right here, just sitting on it, and I could probably beat Jolee plus Grandmaster Yoda with another team, and that's very possible to be able to do. And it's way easier to do if Revan isn't in the picture, and so timing out was going to work a lot better. However, I did decide I wanted to just see where it could go, and luckily Jedi Knight Anakin had a big AoE in him, and he one-shot Jolee and Revan. So Revan died 3 times, and finally was able to clear it. So not necessarily a strong match, strong counter, but it did work. And the 5v5 version is pretty automatic with a high relic Padme. But anyways, I did get the win, and we're moving on to the General Grievous squad, and this General Grievous is of course Relic 7 and extremely hard to shift. This particular version was problematic as well, because we have to take out the B2 battle droid first, just because if we target Grievous first, then he's just going to B2 is going to take too many turns, and he's going to feed too much turn meter to Grievous and to B1, and B1 is going to then be able to just keep fueling the, giving more turn meter to the squad, and he's able to heal Grievous. And so we have to take B2 out, and this is pretty tricky. Grandmaster Yoda already got taken out before we could even take B2 out, and This is a pretty scary moment where Jolee is like almost dead. He's on death's door, and he was able to revive Revan, and you get Mark on Grievous once B2 is gone, and then everything feels a lot better after that, of course. So the fight isn't over. B2 or B1 is still healing Grievous. Grievous is still able to take a lot of turns, but we're in a situation of a lot better control here. And more importantly, Jolee's health pool has regenerated, and so even if Grievous does get another AoE off and wipes out Grandmaster Yoda or Revan, or both, probably, that Jolee can probably revive them before all is said and done. So, our Lord and Savior Jolee at Relic 4 is absolutely necessary. Like, if you guys are waiting to put gear onto Jolee, don't hesitate. Like, I initially was a little bit down on trying to put gear on Jolee. I thought that gear 12 was enough, but honestly, gear 13, Relic 4 is probably the sweet spot. He is so good there. He has saved me so much. We're doing territory wars right now, and Jolee revived the entire team against a Relic 7 Grievous squad with BB-8. He revived the whole team 3 different times in that match, and I was able to get 20 banners in that territory war match. So just really worth it. Relic 4, go do it. So only 2 teams left here, and I'm really scraping the bottom of the barrel here trying to beat these other teams. And so there's the Asajj and Daka team with Zombie that I'm trying to take out here, and then there's General Skywalker, and I had a plan for General Skywalker to be able to beat him, but first I wanted to try taking these Night Sisters out with Emperor Palpatine. If I could do that, then I could try my counter. The only possible one that would work would be my First Order with Watt, and the goal was just to be able to basically one-shot General Skywalker with Executioner and then just go crazy on his back line and be able to isolate him, and then after that I'd be able to take him down with a bunch of other squads. But first we're trying to take out this Night Sister squad, and I'm trying to take out Daka because Daka's the one who can revive. And one thing that I kind of forgot about, which is ridiculous, I realize, is I forgot that Zombie revives characters, which I know that's like the most basic thing ever, but I did forget it for a little bit, and so I was really getting excited. Like, I was really close to being able to take out Daka, throw my lightsaber, take her out, and of course she just pops back up again because Zombie revives other Night Sisters when they get taken out. And so I still had some good momentum though, so I'm still trying to take out Daka. There's Shaak that I've been putting on Zombie, and here's where I made my mistake. I used Thrawn to fracture Daka. Daka had already died twice, and I thought that maybe I could just one-shot Daka with the fracture, and if I did that, then I would have a great chance of being able to beat this team. As it was though, I didn't do that, and I paid the price. What I should have there with Vader thrown my lightsaber and taken out the Zombie, but I didn't do that, and I'm still in okay position. Asajj healed Daka at exactly the wrong time, and then I got a really awfully timed double stun on the exact 2 characters I didn't want to get stunned. So the RNG for that happening was pretty bad. But as it stands, like now Vader got taken out by Asajj, and so did Thrawn, and it's over. So for some reason I didn't just lose there and at least let the Night Sisters drop their protection because they can't regenerate it. But I tried multiple other teams to take this out with. I thought that maybe Machine Gun Leia would actually be able to do some good here. And we're doing okay. Like C-3PO is doing okay because he can prevent Zombie from grabbing that taunt just with his confusion ability. And so now we're just trying to take out Daka, and you see her protection went down pretty quick, but that's just because her health pool is so big and we're doing % health damage to her. So anyways, we weren't going to be able to keep that up. I had other last ditch attempt teams trying to work their magic against this team, but honestly, like it's just too strong of a team to be able to take out easily, and so I had 0 other teams that would be able to take this squad out, unfortunately. We're just moving forward in time here because there's nothing interesting happening, but so unfortunately not able to clear this squad, and that meant that I wouldn't be able to use my Kylo Ren team to potentially take out that General Skywalker team, and therefore I decided I wanted extra points. Even though it would have been nice to know if this squad would be able to take out General Skywalker, I decided I just wanted an extra squad gone, and just the ability to the ability to get a couple more banners like that might make a huge difference in the long run. So the squad is pretty established at being able to take out Night Sisters. You put the weapons tech on Fox. First, you put the taunting tech on Kylo Ren Unmasked, and then the goal here is we're just trying to keep the taunt off of Zombie until Fox can go and kill one of the Night Sisters. And I'm targeting Daka first, and I don't necessarily need to do that. I probably should have actually been targeting Asajj. But the fact is, once you kill one of the Night Sisters, I guess it doesn't matter one way or another, because Zombie, we've already established that Zombie revives characters, and with the weapons tech on First Order Executioner, that revive can't happen. It doesn't happen. So we have to be careful actually not to kill any of the Night Sisters with a character that's not First Order Executioner. So and that's not really a problem, because Kylo Ren Unmasked doesn't really do that much damage anyways. And if he was going to be able to finish someone off, we'd just have him hit Zombie instead. So that's actually a really easy counter against Night Sisters. I really wanted to see if I could take out that General Skywalker team, but so be it. I was able to clear all but one, and it was an okay score, and I felt pretty confident that my opponent wouldn't be able to full clear me. So pretty soon after I had made my attacks and I was about to go to bed, of course my opponent then starts attacking. They failed a couple attacks right away against General Grievous and against my Night Sisters up top, and you can see here they were able to take out one of my teams up top. With a one shot they took out my clones, and then they took out my Nute team, which is fine. The Night Sisters also folded, and then all that was left was General Grievous. I survived another couple battles, but Magna Guard got taken out, and at this point I'm like, well, my opponent probably isn't going to be able to full clear me, so if it's taking this many attacks on General Grievous. So 6 total battles to take out General Grievous, and then they did go down and one-shot my fleet, and then my opponent messaged me and said basically that they were out of teams. So you can see the score was pretty big. The difference was pretty big. It was over 200 points, and we'll look at the final map one more time. But you see my opponent did make an attack on my Asajj team and failed. So that was nice, and I was happy that Grievous took so many hits to be able to kill. And my back zone hasn't been attacked yet. Like I keep hoping my opponent will break through into that zone just so I can have some feedback on how my teams did. I really want to see how my Vander Chewbacca team with Mission and Zalbar goes, but just not working out. So my back zone, of course, with ships doesn't really matter. Not going to put my best fleet back there, even though it maybe would have been a good move here. So anyways, this is the final map. The final score was 1881 to 1611. So got a pretty good win here, 270 point win, which is solid, I guess. I didn't get enough points to full clear like that. That's a problem, honestly. That's like 400 points that I'm just missing out on entirely, and that's really frustrating. It's actually more. It's like 500 or more points that I'm missing out on from full clearing, and I'm actually giving a lot of thought to potentially just using Darth Revan on offense. I really like the idea of having him on defense, but the fact is there's been a couple times now that I haven't been able to full clear just because I don't have enough offensive teams. But I'm really reluctant to do that. I want to experiment with a few other good offensive squads, and I actually think that my Nest is kind of underachieving lately. I'm just not using her the way I probably could be using her. I think that maybe I could have even taken out that Jedi Knight Revan team with her. I don't really know for sure. I toyed with the idea, but a Relic 7 Grandmaster Yoda was a little bit scary for me. Anyways, I do feel like my offense is getting better, more streamlined. I'm starting to understand the better squads to pay attention to and the different mechanics. So, we're getting there. We're getting there one way or another. And yeah, I'm at 4-1. I'm in the finals again. So hopefully I don't drop the ball. And I think I'm gonna let you guys go here. So thank you guys so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.